The Dallas Stars remain perfect on home ice as once again, Matt Duchene is one of the best values in the NHL. And oh yeah, the Stars are off to Finland.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome back to another week of Locked On Stars. Hope you had a fantastic weekend and enjoyed a Dallas Stars victory on Saturday night, a 4-2 win over Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. And how about Matt Duchene? He's off to an absolute tear this season, and I feel like we haven't talked about him enough. So we're going to do that on today's episode, as well as get into Jake Oettinger and the wonderful start he is having in 2024-25. And oh yeah, the Dallas Stars are off to Finland for the NHL Global Series. We will be setting you up all week for this upcoming weekend as the Dallas Stars are taking on the defending Stanley Cup champs, Florida Panthers, in the NHL Global Series. It's going to be an absolute blast. So stick around, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Well, Matt Duchene is off to a fantastic start this season, and he's producing at a rate that we saw for a large part of the regular season a year ago. He finished with 25 goals and 65 points. He was the missing piece for that duo of Tyler Seguin and Mason Marchment. And if you have been following along with me over the last year or so here on Locked On Stars, you heard me constantly in the first 3 months of the season saying Matt Duchene may be the missing piece of this Dallas Stars team to get a Stanley Cup. And he's one of the best values in the NHL at $3 million with the way he produces. And of course, he's still getting paid by Nashville, so he's able to take that pay cut. But he's been an absolute fit for the Dallas Stars since he joined. And he gives that line of Marchment and Seguin a driving force. And look, give Marchment a lot of credit. He has been wonderful this season, but Matt Duchene has that skill, and he still has the juice in his legs at 33, right? He sort of has the legs that Tyler Seguin had about 6 years ago, and you can match that with the skill. So it gives that line a different element, right? Marchment is that physical, hard forechecker, and Seguin really is just sort of your sniper on the line, the finisher, so to speak. And yeah, he's good at creating turnovers, and when he has to be physical, he can be physical. But really, it's about Duchene making plays for Seguin and Marchment. And when they finish at a high rate, it is a lot of fun to watch. And Duchene scored a beauty against Peter Mrazek and the Blackhawks on Saturday. Just went top cheddar, a power play goal to give the Stars a 3-0 lead at the time, and Chicago made it interesting, as the Stars usually do as well. They let teams back into the game, but Duchene is leading the Dallas Stars in points in the first 9 games of this season. He's got 6 goals and 11 points. He's on a 4-game point streak, and in 3 of those efforts, he has multi-point contests. 2 the other night against Chicago. One was the empty netter to finish off the Blackhawks. He had 3 points against Boston, and he had 2 in the win against Edmonton, and those were a couple of goals as well. So he's off to a scorching start, and that line has been the most consistent from the hop this season. And maybe it's not a surprise with Robertson having injuries in training camp in the preseason. Maverick Bourque as well, who's still sort of trying to find his game. We thought he would be a perfect fit for Johnston and Ben, but he still has some catching up to do. And this line Seguin, Marchment, and Duchene just gives Pete DeBoer a trio he can rely on. And they weren't the best line in the game. Johnston, Ben, and Dadonov were all over the place. They ended with 10 scoring chances. The Duchene line had 5 in the game against Chicago. But it was nice to see the Stars as well be very crisp with their passing and their ability to flow through the neutral zone with a lot of speed. And we started to see them attack off the rush a lot more because they could get out of their own zone cleanly. How about the defense jumping up in the rush? Miro Heiskanen had his best game of the season, had a couple of helpers, but the defense driving some of that offense up the ice. Thomas Harley had a very nice game. Niels Lundqvist was very active, right? Lindell, his little floater pass to Dadonov on the breakaway was incredible and really something the Stars have utilized a lot already this season, stretching out the defense and stretching out the ice, especially in between the blue lines. It's really, really nice to see the Stars sort of find their rhythm in that game against Chicago. And yes, the Blackhawks are not a great team, but the Stars were clearly the better team for a large part of the game. And that's what you want to see. You want to see them dominating possession and dominating chances. And that's what we got the other night. They finished with 24 scoring chances at 5-on-5. If you include the power plays and shorthanded chances, they outchanced the Blackhawks when they were down a man as well. Blackwell had a great look, but 38 scoring chances total. 18 of them were high danger chances. The expected goals for 5.62 for the Stars in the contest against the Blackhawks, almost 2 goals more than the Blackhawks had. So excellent stuff. Mrazek was really, really good in the game as well for Chicago early, and then the Stars were able to get to him. But to circle back on Matt Duchene and what he provides for the Dallas Stars. And look, I'm going to base Matt Duchene's season on the playoffs, right? Because we saw this last year. And in the postseason, it really, really dried up. He finished with two points, I want to say. I could be wrong on that, but I know he had the big goal against Colorado, of course, to finish off that series. But he really struggled. He had 6 points in 19 games, but he was non-existent for a lot of those postseason games, especially in the Western Conference Finals. He went really quiet. And to be fair, a lot of Dallas Stars went quiet, but he came to Dallas to win a Stanley Cup and to compete. So he needs to produce in those moments. But we can also acknowledge and credit how important it is to have a guy like Duchene at $3 million that can produce the way he is. And he's one of the best values in the NHL, hands down, with the way he is playing right now. And we're talking about Matt Duchene at 33 years of age, leading the Dallas Stars in goals and points. He currently leads the entire National Hockey League in shooting percentage at 40%. And that will not continue. That will be rather tough, but he has it. He has it. He still has the legs, and he's shifty. He makes plays, especially in the offensive zone. His ability to create time and space for himself and others is remarkable. And look, he was a former high draft pick. It's I guess not a huge surprise, but man, I don't know how the Stars continue to find guys in their early to mid 30s to just be as productive as they ever were, frankly. And he's been really good. He leads the Stars in power play goals, which is probably not what Dallas wants to see, but he's been good on the man advantage as the power play is starting to find a bit of rhythm. I mean, look at the scoring for Dallas, right? My 3 top scorers that I predicted were Robertson, Hintz, and Johnston coming into the year. It's Duchene, Stankoven, and Seguin. And Marchment's right behind him, tied with 8 points. Roope's there as well. But Stankoven, Duchene, and Seguin. got a couple of guys in their mid-30s that are leading the charge right now. And I mean, Tyler just could not buy one the other day against Chicago. Hit a couple pipes in the game. He's been so damn good. I hope he stays healthy enough because he is just productive as he comes. And with the way Marchman is playing this season, and if Duchene keeps this up, that line is hard to mess with. It really is. It's hard to defend when you got to worry about the Stankovens and the Robertson and Hintz. It takes a lot of heat away from them, and they can still make you pay. And they were all over the 200 by 85 foot sheet the other night against Chicago. So, and Duchene, I feel like I haven't spoken about him a ton in the first 2 weeks of this season. And then you look up and it's like, holy cow, he's got 11 points in the in the first 9 games. But he's been consistent, right? And you need players like that. We're going to have to see him take a step up in his leadership role here now in Dallas with the departure of Pavelski. I'm sure Duchene is taking on some of that responsibility. I would not be surprised if he's sort of the guy that some of the younger players can lean on a bit, right? And sort of start to meander his way into that Joe Pavelski type role where he sets the tone in the locker room. He sets the tone every day at practice and how the Stars are going to go about their business, right? And that attitude of winning. And yeah, Duchene has never been a huge playoff performer in years past. It's always been a big knock on him, but he doesn't have to carry the offensive load here in Dallas, but he needs to chip in, right? He's going to be relied upon in the postseason. So, look, that's how I'm going to view him. As you know, 4 or 5 months ago, last spring, I was very disappointed with him. And I was like, well, you can't bring him back if he wants a pay raise because he has to deliver in those moments. But when they got him at $3 million, okay, yeah, like that's a no-brainer. I just thought he would look elsewhere to get a little more bang for his buck. But great to have him here in Dallas, and he's been wonderful to begin this season. And yeah, he's one of the best values in the National Hockey League. What a night for him. A couple of goals and a 4-2 win for the Stars, who remain perfect at the American Airlines Center. A perfect 5-0 this season, second in the Central Division, trailing an 8-0 Winnipeg Jets team. Yeah, the Jets are off and running, or off and flying. I guess you could say. But a big reason for the Stars' home ice performances has been Jake Oettinger. Let's recap his first couple of weeks in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, and you can go ahead and get involved this weekend. There's so many different PrizePicks options. You can look at the football board and different players like CeeDee Lamb with more than 67.5 receiving yards and different plays like that. And you can coordinate which ones you want to choose, and you can make a lot of money by having fun. So use code LOCKEDONNHL and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even have to win it, but go ahead, download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Jake Oettinger is doing exactly what I expected of Jake Oettinger so far this season in 2024-25. And I hope we get to see him in the Frozen Face-Off, not the Frozen Face-Off, excuse me, the Four Nations tournament here in a couple of months. Would love to see him don the USA sweater and he's making a great bid for himself right now. Connor Hellenbuck is probably going to be the starter because Hellenbuck is so amazing, but Oettinger is having a nice start himself, and he's currently third in the NHL in goal save above expected at 7.0. Only Anderson and Dostal are above him, but where you want to see his numbers are right where he is currently right now. Goals against average, 1.84. That ranks fifth. He's behind Sorokin, DeSmith, and DeSmith has played a few less games, but DeSmith is up there, Hellenbuck and Anderson for Carolina. Save percentage, Oettinger ranks fourth at 938. And yes, he only cares about the win column, but he's going to do that a lot, right? The Stars are a very good team, and he's 5-1 to begin the season, only allowed 11 goals in those 6 games, but he has been so damn good. And I mentioned it when they signed the contract. This is why you pay your goaltender, pay him early, get it done with. He's locked in. And now you take all the distractions away about the contract out of the picture, and he can just focus on being fantastic. And look, he's fully healthy. I mentioned this in the offseason a bit. He was really fighting it last year. And who knows, he may have not trusted his body because it was that lower body injury. I want to say it was a foot or an ankle. It can be really hard to trust that, especially as a goaltender. Amount of times you're going up and down at a butterfly, having to push off to get side to side. And he always seemed a bit he seemed to be a tad late. And I also will point out that it felt like a lot of times when the opposition would make those backdoor passes or, slide it across the crease, Oettinger would kind of lunge, right? You would see it like he would kind of hold on to the post he was at, and he wouldn't really push off. He would just kind of lunge out to his right. You saw that a lot. He just, lunge out to his right and kind of just try to get his blocker out there or his glove, depending on where it was. This season, he is moving so much more fluid. There's a much more calmness in his game. He was really out of position for large parts of last season, and he would get beat up high. He would get out of his crease because he would slide too far. He got over anxious or overzealous, but there's this calm presence with him, and it's much more fluid. And yes, I'm not a goalie guru, but your eyes just tell you that he's just in a much better spot than he was for a lot of last season. He was still really good in the postseason, but he always has those stinkers, right? He always has that one game where it's just like, okay, like that was bad. And he usually makes up for it. But if he wants to take that next step, right, to be really elite, like you're one of the handful of best goaltenders on the planet, you can't have those. You got to be locked in pretty much every single night. And you can't have that goof for one game in a series because that can cost you, right? It can cost you big time. So can he take that next level? That's what we get to see out of Jake. They're going to be very, very cautious with him again this season. We're already seeing it early with DeSmith getting, plenty of starts, right? DeSmith is he's up to 3 starts now in the first 9 games of this season. Jake is going to be well rested because they want him when it matters. And if he is going to be well rested and on top of his game like he is, he's going to be tough to beat. He's already got a shutout this season, but these are where you want his numbers to be, especially when you're paying him $8.25, right? And I get that. Like you're paying him a lot of money. It's an investment. You want to see him in the top 10 in goals against and save percentage, right? And it's not like the defense has been fantastic in front of them. If you look at their, 5-on-5 defense, the Stars, it's not the best if you look around the league, and Oettinger's cleaning up a lot. And that's why I mentioned via Money Puck that his goal save above expected is 3rd in the NHL currently, because the Stars have given up some good looks, right? And he's bailed them out a couple of times, and he's been really, really, really darn good. Was fantastic on Saturday. I mean, Bedard beat him, but God, when Bedard shoots the puck, it's something. Does something to me when I watch that release. It's a lot of he's fun to watch. And he scored a dandy against Jake, and it wasn't a ton to shoot at either. And man, he picked the corner. So credit to Bedard on that one. But Jake's off to a great start. And if he's gonna be this way, the Stars are going to be in fine shape. And yeah, there's still going to be some people that look at him in a certain light until he proves it. And I understand that. I said it during a lot of his struggles last year. Like, I think he's still one of the best goalies in the NHL. I'm really high on him, right? I can acknowledge that bias. I'm very, very high, probably too high at points in my positive outlook. But yeah, let's see what he can do come April and June. And hey, when he hasn't been the best, he's still gotten the Stars to a Western Conference final. And you're not doing that without at least somewhat of a good goaltender. I mean, maybe Skinner in the Edmonton is, I guess if you want to be a pessimist, you can look at them, but they do have the best player on the entire planet. Anyways, as we set you up at the end of the week for the NHL Global Series, starts currently as I'm recording. This could be on the flight over across the pond in Finland. The Finnish Mafia is playing at home. Let's talk about some of the moves the Stars have made and get you some of the locker room chatter from Miro and his Finnish teammates. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and you can get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. On Sundays, when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. You got to win, but you can get $150 in bonus bets. Go to FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The NHL.com put out an article with a couple of quotes from the Dallas Stars Finnish Mafia. Miro's in here, Roope, and Esa. So I wanted to share those with you as we get set up for the NHL Global Series. Stars taking on the defending Stanley Cup champs, the Florida Panthers, on Friday, November 1st, and then Saturday, November 2nd. Start times 1 o'clock on Friday, by the way, and 11 a.m. on Saturday. So be sure to set your alarms now so you don't miss out on them yet. They're a bit different with the time change, but it will be awesome. And both of the games will be on Victory Plus. Both of them will be on Victory Plus, which is awesome. You would think the NHL would almost exclusively put that on like a national broadcast. It is on the NHL Network, but it is on Victory Plus. So it will be free because I know NHL Network is actually really hard to get. Basically, if you don't have cable, you do not have NHL Network. Anyways, Miro said on Saturday, it's nice to go to Finland after the win against Chicago. And Jamie Benn, the captain, said it's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited to see what Miro, Roope, and Esa have in store for us. I know they've got some great things lined up. It's going to be a great week. It'll be fun to get on the road and bond a little bit more with the guys. And Lindell also said it's kind of a weird feeling. Hasn't happened before. Super excited. I've said it before. I've been kind of jealous to see other teams go play games overseas. So I'm pumped to say it's happening to us now. And I am giddy as all be to watch the Stars in Finland. It's going to be a fantastic week. Hopefully the Stars can pick up a couple of W's, but I am thrilled and anxiously awaiting the content that the Stars are going to produce as well. They've already put out a little piece on Victory Plus as well, so be sure to check that out. But Miro said it's really exciting to go there and show the guys around a little bit. I think everyone is excited for that, and hopefully it's a good trip. It's a beautiful city, both Helsinki and Tampere. Both are beautiful cities and a cool place to go. There's a lot of good stuff. It might be a little dark at this time, but it will be fun for sure. It says in this article, November is the darkest month of the year in Finland. There are less than 8 hours of daylight before the sun sets around 4 p.m. So that'll be a bit interesting, I'm sure, for the Stars. But I think it's just going to be a fantastic week. And Lindell, Miro, I think, probably going to play some of their best games, maybe of the entire regular season. Like, these will probably maybe have a playoff feel for them in a lot of ways. Just the atmosphere, you have to believe they're going to have family coming from everywhere to come watch them. So these will be bigger than normal. And it feels special even from here or where I am in Texas, right? It feels special. Like, I'm going to sit down and watch these games. Like, I can miss a regular season game here and there, right? I don't, because, I don't want to talk out of my, rear end too much here on Locked On Stars. But, sometimes you're like, yeah, it's a Saturday. Like, it's fine. But these ones, like, you're going to stop down and watch these. So let me know how excited you are for the NHL Global Series in the comments below. We're going to get you set all week here on Locked On Stars, getting into some different matchups with Florida. And, it'll just be an absolute blast. As I alluded to before this segment, Stars did make some moves. They recalled Kyle Capobianco up to the Dallas Stars. Of course, if Dallas goes through some injuries, they're going to need somebody across the pond as well. So Capobianco was called up. 100 Degree Hockey tweeted out, Texas, the Stars, the AHL team, received Ben Cross on recall from Idaho. There's no corresponding transaction to Dallas. This was on Sunday evening, but I would assume Magnus Hellberg is serving as the third NHL goalie for Dallas in Finland. So those will be a couple of the guys that will make the trip as well, possibly just to be ready in case the Stars go through some issues health-wise, and hopefully everything will be all right on that front, because Dallas is fully healthy now. They've played 3 games now with a fully healthy lineup, and played one of their best games of the season against Chicago. So going to be an absolute blast, and it was great to hear some words from the Finnish Mafia. Be sure to check out the article. It's on NHL.com. It's by Sean Rourke. Great little piece, and there's a quote from Barkov as well, and he said, and Pete DeBoer had also coached for Team Canada in Finland, so he's excited about the enthusiastic crowd. Says the NHL has been to Finland 5 times previously, playing before sold-out enthusiastic crowds, and it will be at Nokia Arena. And Lindell actually played in that arena during the 2022 IIHF World Championships, so he knows his way around those parts. So there you go. There's just a little quick gloss over of what is going to be happening later this week. So no Stars games until Friday. So we're going to hold out here. We're going to have a ton of fun. We'll get you ready for that. We'll talk about some other things. I want to do a sort of month recap of this October. Who's your most surprising Dallas Star? Most disappointing? We'll do some of those, and a few other things as we get you set for the NHL Global Series. Well, that'll do it for a Monday episode of Locked On Stars. By the way, appreciate all the love and support on all the videos. Friday's episode on the Bruins win went bonkers. So shout out to all you guys. Appreciate all the engagement too. Please continue to comment. I love reading them. I usually like most of them, unless you come after me. But most of you are nice down there, which is good. This community is awesome. So continue to join. Let your friends know. Subscribe. Hit the like button. Drop a comment. Do all that good stuff. You can follow me at JoeTheJet19 on X. Locked On Stars on X as well. And we're just going to continue to have a lot of fun here. And as I usually say, and I know I say it way too much, but absolute blessed to be able to do this and talk to you guys. So I really appreciate you listening and taking part in the conversation. Have a great Monday, Stars fans. Have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay? So long, Stars fans.